Here's the number that flips everyone's assumption. With $20,000 in annual medical bills, a Platinum plan can leave you about $2,000 better off than a Gold plan in a bad year, even after Platinum's higher premiums. That's because Platinum covers roughly 90% of costs versus 80% for Gold. According to healthcare.gov and National Health Council summaries of ACA actuarial values. I read the fine print so you don't have to. So the real question isn't which tier is cheaper on paper, it's when paying more actually pays off. And that line is more predictable than you'd think. This choice isn't small money. A 2026 comparison estimate puts an individual Platinum premium at about $750 a month versus $600 for Gold, roughly $1,800 more per year, according to that analysis. But Platinum deductibles run about $0 to $500 versus $1,000 to $2,500 for Gold. So a chronically ill patient starts getting help almost immediately. And the worst-case out-of-pocket maximum can be around $4,500 on some Platinum plans versus roughly $8,700 on Gold, per Depke Insurance's comparison figures. Choose wrong, and you either overpay premiums for coverage you never use, or you get crushed by out-of-pocket costs in the year you can least afford it. At a glance, this is the classic ACA trade-off. Gold pays about 80% of average medical costs with a lower premium near $600 a month, while Platinum pays about 90%, with a higher premium near $750, according to healthcare.gov actuarial value figures and the 2026 premium comparison. Platinum's deductible can be as low as $0 to $500 versus $1,000 to $2,500 on Gold, per those same estimates. So you're literally paying a bigger fixed premium to buy a smaller share of every bill you actually incur. Gold is the tier most heavy but not extreme users land on. It pays about 80% of average medical costs, leaving you roughly 20% through deductibles, copays, and coinsurance, according to healthcare.gov and National Health Council summaries of ACA actuarial values. It fits people whose annual allowed charges sit under about $10,000 to $15,000 per a 2026 comparison guide. All metal tiers cover the same essential health benefits. So what you're really buying with Gold is a middle ground. Cheaper premiums than Platinum, but a meaningful deductible and a higher worst-case exposure that can reach around $8,700. Gold's real strength is efficiency when you don't use much care. If your expected annual charges stay under about $5,000, Gold, or even silver, usually produces a lower total cost than Platinum, according to healthcare.gov plan comparison figures. The premium gap alone is about $1,800 a year for an individual, per the 2026 estimate, and that's money you keep if you rarely hit the doctor. In other words, Gold rewards you for not needing the plan much, which is exactly the situation most healthy enrollees are in. Here's Gold's weakness. In a truly bad year, the worst-case model is 12 months of premiums plus the out-of-pocket maximum, and Gold's cap sits near $8,700 for an individual, according to Depke Insurance's comparison. For a chronically ill person who hits that cap repeatedly, the annual out-of-pocket burden is roughly $4,200 higher than a Platinum plan capped around $4,500. Over 10 recurring bad years, that difference alone is about $42,000 in extra out-of-pocket spending, before premiums. A huge gap for anyone without deep savings. Platinum is the top of the ACA metal ladder, and it's engineered for people who use a lot of care. It pays about 90% of average medical costs, leaving the member near 10%, with the highest premiums but the lowest out-of-pocket costs, according to healthcare.gov and National Health Council summaries. Its deductible can be as low as $0 to $500 per 2026 estimates, so the plan often starts paying almost immediately. That same 2026 guide flatly says, Platinum is designed for very high medical use and ongoing treatments, which tells you exactly who it's not for. Platinum's biggest win shows up precisely in the year that scares you most. At $20,000 in allowed medical charges, Gold's 80% coverage leaves a family owing about $4,000, while Platinum's 90% coverage leaves about $2,000. A $2,000 cost-sharing gap, according to healthcare.gov actuarial values. Layer on Platinum's lower out-of-pocket maximum, near $4,500 versus $8,700 on Gold, per Deductible insurance, and the worst-case cash burden drops sharply. For a household without a big emergency fund, that predictable lower ceiling is the whole point. Platinum's catch is simple. If you don't use much care, that premium is money down the drain. The extra premium runs about $1,800 a year for an individual and roughly $5,400 for a family of 4 versus Gold, according to the 2026 comparison. That same analysis says Platinum is generally only worth it once your annual medical costs exceed about $15,000. Below that line, you're paying a premium surcharge to cover bills you'll never actually generate. The richest coverage on the market, wasted. Let's score the money numbers directly. On premium, Gold wins with about $600 a month versus $750 for Platinum, per the 2026 estimate. But on coverage share, Platinum takes it at 90% versus 80%. On deductible, Platinum wins with $0 to $500 versus $1,000 to $2,500. And on worst-case out-of-pocket max, Platinum wins again at roughly $4,500 versus $8,700. According to healthcare.gov figures and Deductible Insurance's example table. So Gold wins the fixed cost, Platinum wins everything that fires when you actually use care. Now the fit factors. Both tiers cover the same essential health benefits, so that's a tie, according to healthcare.gov. On total worst-case family spend, Gold edges it at about $29,700 versus $30,900 for Platinum, per Deductible Insurance's Premium plus OOP model. But look closer. The cash burden above premiums, the part you pay out of pocket when you're sick, is about $4,500 on Platinum versus $8,700 on Gold, roughly $4,200 lower. Before I get to the number that settles this for most people, that cash flow gap is the piece almost everyone overlooks. Tally the rounds. Gold takes premium, light use total cost, and the catastrophic year total by a hair. Platinum takes coverage share, deductible, out-of-pocket maximum, and cash flow protection. So Platinum wins more rounds on paper, but every one of its wins is conditional on one thing: actually using a lot of care. That's why this comparison hinges on a single number, not a scoreboard. Here's the single number that decides it for most people: about $15,000 in annual medical charges. A 2026 analysis finds Platinum is generally only worth it once your yearly costs cross that line, because the richer 90% coverage and lower deductible then save more than the extra premium. Below $15,000, Gold's lower premium usually wins. Above it, Platinum's math takes over. If this breakdown is useful, subscribe. The next one is already coming. So who wins? It genuinely depends, and the rule is clean. If your expected annual medical charges stay under about $15,000, moderate visits, occasional care, Gold is the better fit because its lower premium wins on total cost, according to healthcare.gov and 2026 comparison figures. If you're a chronic high-use patient whose charges reliably exceed $15,000, or you keep hitting your out-of-pocket max, Platinum is the better fit. At $20,000 in charges, its 90% coverage leaves about $2,000 in cost sharing versus $4,000 on Gold. And a bad year can cost roughly $2,000 to $2,400 less overall. This is general information, not personal advice. Always check the plan's summary of benefits, your county's actual pricing, and your own claims history before deciding, because your numbers, not the average, settle it. Here's how to run it yourself. Log into your ACA marketplace and insurer portals, pull your last 2 to 3 years of claims, and add up your total allowed charges and out-of-pocket payments each year. Using healthcare.gov and Deductible Insurance's worst-case method, choose Gold if your usage is moderate, under roughly $10,000 to $15,000 a year. or your out-of-pocket spending stays below half your cap. Choose Platinum if your charges reliably top $15,000, or you keep landing within a couple $1,000s of your out-of-pocket maximum. Because that lower cap is genuine cash flow protection. Before you renew, do the one thing most people skip. Run your own break-even using your real claims history instead of the marketplace averages, because your number is the only one that matters here. Next, I'm breaking down ACA Silver plans and cost-sharing reductions, the tier that quietly beats Gold for a huge slice of enrollees. So subscribe if you want to catch that one.